So let's talk about Fabled. Fabled is probably the shortest trait that means a whole lot more. So, and I think we have to talk about it at some point that like there was some stuff that leaked out here, uh,
Yep. Yep.
but which sucks. And someday we'll talk about that. But I think Fabled was one of the ones that people would look at the leak and be like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yep. Absolutely. It just means I need to write all my tooltips more cryptically from now on to avoid leaks until we get to PBE. So.
Perfect, perfect. All right. So what does Fabled do?
So Fabled is a three-piece, and when it is active, the Fabled units gain a bonus to their ability. And it's different for each individual unit, so while Nautilus may become tankier, Cho'Gath becomes even like more of a
All right,
support
all
unit.
right. So let's see what they do here. So Nautilus is a Fabled Vanguard. So Vanguard, decent armor, kind of low MR. His ability is a long single target stun. This is a reprint of Galaxies Nautilus.
Yes, Galaxies. Yep.
Yeah, Galaxy's Nautilus, so it's that single target stun. Does the damage has been amped though, so it actually does a decent chunk of damage.
Yep.
But if you have Fabled active, what does it do?
So he'll gain a shield on himself that reduces incoming damage by right now 75% for 5 seconds, and this just makes him such a premier frontliner in terms of not taking any damage from any source except True. He's super tanky, super tanky.
Now the crazy thing to talk about here too is that's with the mana system in check. So like as he
Correct.
takes a bunch of damage that's then getting reduced, he'll cast his spell again very quickly.
Yes.
Continue, and so like you said, he can be one of the tankiest units in the game through Fabled.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He kind of chain casts and is able to both lock down whoever his target is while keeping up this shield the entire time. It's very powerful.
Yeah. Next up is Nico. Now I think a lot of people were expecting 3-cost Nico to be a Galaxy's reprint, but she's not. She's more of a Rise of the Elements reprint.
Yeah, yeah. So similar to Darius, we moved her from 2 cost to 3 cost and sort of massaged the effect a little bit. In this case, it's very similar, except for the Fable bonus, which causes the third explosion to deal a bunch of bonus damage, a triple, I think. Ish.
Yep, it's triple right now. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what's kind of cool here is that again, Mystics are getting a damage dealer, and
Yep.
that damage is really high. By the way, when it's Fabled, this is like close to
Yeah.
Ari levels of power.
Yeah.
We're kind of expecting to see, like, if you get a chosen Fabled Nautilus, maybe you run a 4 Vanguard, 4 Mystic Nico carry comp,
Yep.
and that can actually do some cool stuff. So we're hoping this will actually bring back some of that Vanguard Mystic defensive but offensive kind of power to the
Yeah.
game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. And then, of course, we can't forget the last Fabled, and probably the craziest, because you're out of your mind for making this.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Cho'Gath, and I'm just going to let the GIF play here.
Oh,
Boom!
so good.
Hits
Oh
the
man.
whole board. Why don't you talk about Cho'Gath?
Yeah. So when okay, I'm gonna pedal way back a little bit to set 4. Enlighten's original pitch was actually this Fabled bonus system, and one of the things we talked about was it's really hard to like think about like 6 different units and what their upgrades are and how they all affect things differently, and so we kind of shelved this. So for set 4.5, I wanted to bring it back and try again. And one of the new skin lines we had coming out involved Cho'Gath. And I was like, ooh, this is a great opportunity to try this. What's the coolest, biggest thing you could do with Cho'Gath? Especially when we talk about this idea of like myth or fable, like bringing back what they did in the past, but making him powerful. And set 1 Cho'Gath basically felt like he hit the whole board, like launch Cho'Gath.
Yeah.
And so my thoughts were, what if we just let him hit the whole board? And the original version we did in playtest was just, a 5 times bigger circle, didn't look nearly as good as this. But the initial feedback was like, what just happened? Like, this isn't okay. This is so powerful. It's disgusting. And we did have to pull it back a little bit, so he's not so good with Morellos, so he doesn't deal damage with the outside of the circle bit. But it's still such a powerful visual and does so much work for your team. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, this turned out really good. And I think you said the fact that it used to, Morello's was kind of dominating, but now that that's not an issue, it actually feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So kind of excited to see how people play this out. But I definitely think we're going to be like, you thought this was okay? Big full screen CC. It's a lot of CC.
It
No
is.
argument there.
But it's not a ton of damage, to be fair. And it's not like you can run him and Sejuani in like a similar comp and be expecting to also deal like good damage and be well-rounded. And so I think that while you hear AoE 2-second knockup, you're like, oh, that's really powerful. It's not as crazy as you might think, especially with the tax of running,
You have to get Fabled in. That's the thing.
Exactly.
The fact that you have to get Fabled in, it's pretty hard to run without a Chosen, to be honest, because you got to run all three. But if you can get a Chosen, I think it becomes a lot more viable.
Yeah, I think this is going to be similar to Moonlight, one of those traits that you really, really want a Chosen if you're going to be leaning heavily into it, unless you get really lucky with some early pickups and 2 stars and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Now, all that being said, is even at the end of the day, he's still a brawler with 1,000 HP with a big AoE knockup. So even if you're not running Fabled, it's not like he's not still Cho'Gath. But
yeah, still great.
Yeah, but yeah, this effect pretty sweet.